This football season will be different, and Pepsi is here to get you ready for game day no matter how you watch this season. Pepsi is the refreshment you need to power through game day and become a member of the League of Football Watchers. These passionate fans are the real generational talent that Pepsi fuels because Pepsi isn't made for those who play the game. It's made for those who watch it. Pepsi, made for football watching.
Bird to your mother, it's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just a couple of feathery brethren weathering any season to see the Eagles eating teams like bacon, steaks, and cheese. It's Philadelphia, Bo and Sheila in the cut, kicking it cooler than two penguins. Still Bo's old arch nemesis. Greg Cosell shows up and it gets real. Pull up a branch and chill. It's time to get ill with some Birds with Friends. The early bird skips the worm and prefers getting turned like a turn on some Birds with Friends. Bo Wolf and Shil Kapadi are coming at you with stats and things flapping their wings.
The Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
I'm gonna get drunk.
Where them beers? All bottles on Mr. Lurie tonight. Damn, that's gonna make me throw up.
What was it like to have Bradley Cooper in the booth?
We the best. No one could have got me a Caprice.
Where's the ball security? Touchdown, Tom. Loser. Nick Foles never lost a Super Bowl. A throwback intro after Nick Foles takes down Tom Brady in prime time. Welcome, everybody, to Birds with Friends on a Friday morning. It's Friday. Got to get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Zach Berman, Marissa Morris, Sheil Kapadia, Bo Wolf here live on YouTube. Everybody wants to know. Sheil, how you doing?
I mean, I can't believe Jameis Winston, you don't know it's fourth down, and then you're a sore loser. You don't shake Nick Foles' hand. You know, people are saying, well, because of COVID. I mean, I watched Jameis last week against the Chargers. He's shaking every Chargers hand. They're coming up for hugs with him afterwards. So, wait, you said Tom Brady at the? I'm kind of confused. Did we watch different games? I mean, this is dominating my TV sets everywhere this morning about, not knowing that it's fourth down.
The excuses being made and Arians saying, oh, he knew what down it was, like just nakedly out there. This guy who's always yelling at his teammates for stuff. He's the one who doesn't know what time it is, basically. Give me a break with this loser.
I mean, I liked Bill Barnwell's tweet that the level of kind of confidence you have to have when everyone is running off the field to be holding up a 4, like they got it wrong, and right. you know that it's fourth down. I think we have to hear Zach's opinion on this.
Well, the Eagles have a big game against the Steelers this weekend. So that last night, look, Tom Brady has earned a lot of. He's earned equity, if you will. But certainly, Nick Foles beat him last night. I suppose I don't make a big deal about the handshaking thing.
See, I do. Not like a big deal because of course it's silly, but this is like a time and time again thing with him.
How is that not a big deal?
How's that not a big deal? Well, because you don't know what happened behind the scenes.
Well, I know that every game I watch, the quarterbacks win or lose, go to midfield and shake hands. If he never did it, if he thought, the other people had germs and he didn't want to get their breath near him and wanted to go in, that's fine. He only does it when he loses.
He's such a toddler.
What is that?
I guess I spent 3 days reading on social media about like this outrage that Patrick Mahomes and Stephen Gilmore shook hands after the game, and then all of a sudden it's like, why didn't Tom Brady shake hands here with Nick Foles?
You can bump elbows. They were getting very creative. We all know he didn't do it because of COVID protocols.
I feel like we know how Nick Foles is, and he's like the nicest guy in the world. And that like the first time when it happened in the Super Bowl, he was like, I sort of understand it. But I feel like last night, even Nick Foles is like, F that guy. Like, yeah, give me a break with this.
He should have acknowledged Nick. I agree with that. But it's like on the list of things that I'm going to get outraged about, that's not on it.
So what would get you outraged? The fact that Brady, went through the offseason pretending that COVID didn't exist and, having no mask meetups with his players, or maybe him just being buddy with the president and not wanting to get asked about it because that's just his good friend, and he's just
wonder
a
how
golfer,
this podcast
and that's all
goes
this good
astray.
stuff.
Like,
or I don't know. cheating on his pregnant fiance.
Oh, boy. All right. This is live, Bo. Remember.
Bo, I get asked often, how do you guys do like hour and a half podcast? What is there to talk about? And my answer is, well, we talk about the Eagles for about 7 minutes. And then
I was going to say, I ask myself that every day. Yeah. After every episode.
All right. Well, we've got plenty to get to. We will hit the bird on the street from Zach Bourbon. We will do our crow thine enemy on the Steelers. We thought that we were going to be done with the draft, but after a victory last week, that means we get it for one more week, and we'll answer your questions. If you've got some bird lines to throw at us in the comments, throw those out. We can answer them as we go. But let's start with we talked to Doug Peterson just a bit ago. It's time to send it over to the Stone Cold Newsman, Zach Berman. What do we got?
Alshon Jeffrey has an illness. It's not COVID related, but it is going to keep him out for this weekend's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Deshaun Jackson continues to nurse this hamstring injury that Doug Peterson expressed optimism about last week. We don't know if he's going to play Sunday. They'll see if they can get him to the game, as Doug Peterson says. Rodney McLeod also has an injury, but it sounded based on his public comments yesterday like he thinks he'll be able to go this week. We spent a lot of time on the podcast on Wednesday night talking about Jordan Mailata. Doug Peterson said this job is Jordan Mailata's for the foreseeable future. Then when Jason Peters is healthy,
the near future.
Yeah, for in the near future, and when Jason Peters is healthy, they'll have a decision to make. There are two players who were placed on injured reserve yesterday. That was TJ Edwards and who am I missing here?
Rudy Ford.
Yes, thank you, Rudy Ford. So the Eagles have two open spots on the roster. Now they have some players that if they feel are ready, they can activate from IR because they've already started their practice windows, and that includes Quez Watkins, who Doug Peterson doesn't yet know about. Now he knows about Quez Watkins, doesn't yet know about his status.
He's never heard of him. He's wondering why this guy keeps showing up with the skinny legs.
It's like Sheila with Toth.
Yeah, Vinny Curry and Craig James, both of whom are eligible to be taken off IR. So something to monitor with those two open roster spots today.
Zach, somebody suggests that you should have a copy of The Power Broker on your bookshelf. Are you familiar with that book? I don't know that book. The Power Broker.
I'm not. I would like to look it up.
Okay, there you go. Marissa is getting compliments. Claire says she likes your blouse, Marissa. Now, someone else said they liked your sweater. So do you want to clarify? Is this a sweater or a blouse?
It's like a zip-up sweater. I don't know.
Okay.
You could call it whatever you want. Listen, appreciate the comment.
I'm sure there will be a discussion about it in the comments here. We've got people checking in from Budapest.
Ooh, Budapest.
Pennsylvania. To be expected.
Yeah.
The UK and Lexington, Kentucky. How do you feel about a Lexington, Kentucky?
Never been to a.
Can you go on a nice what is it, like a bourbon tasting or something? Isn't that like a big Kentucky thing, or am I wrong?
Kentucky is I'm sure there's bourbon in Lexington. I feel like that's not the place that's famous
that's where the
for
University
Lexington.
Of Kentucky is. That's
but let us know.
You
guys ever stepped foot in Kentucky?
Yes.
I have not. I was thinking of the states that I bet, I think the number one state that, I don't know what it would take to get me there. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to going there. I have nothing against it, but I feel like Iowa. Like, what's ever going to get when I see Iowa, like on the news or something happening in Iowa, I'm like, you know what? That might be one of the ones I never get to.
So I feel like you will get to Iowa because all it really takes is like you're in Chicago for a week and you make a day trip to Iowa, or you're driving from somewhere to somewhere else.
Why? I love Chicago. Why if I have a week in Chicago, I'm not driving to Iowa.
It's driving.
So with both those states, first off, if you fly to Cincinnati to cover a Bengals game, you literally land in Kentucky.
That's true. I did that, so I have been there.
It's in Covington, Kentucky. So and the stadium's right on the river, and there's a row of hotels right there in Covington, Kentucky. So you can stay in Covington if you would like. In terms of Iowa, I've covered a few things.
I've never been to Iowa either, actually.
Yeah, I've covered a few things in Nebraska, and right across from Omaha, where I covered the College World Series, and I covered a University of Nebraska game, and I flew into Omaha.
Boy, biceps are just
there's a
shirt up right now.
So
gotta get air holes in those pits. Get the whip easier.
So there's in Council Bluffs, I believe it is, right across the border. There are casinos, and so I was in Omaha. I was let's see, I was 20. I was it was the 2008 football season, Virginia Tech versus Nebraska, and drove across the border to play a little blackjack in Council Bluffs. In Council Bluffs, Iowa. So that's my Iowa story.
I would be all for replacing Zach's market tips with his gambling stories at casinos, but I'm not going to put you on the spot right now, like Bo.
Now, I see. I've taken a sip. Marissa's taken a sip. Shield's taking a sip. What are we working with today, beverage, coffee-wise, people?
I've got a burlap and bean large coffee in here. I broke my coffee pot at home, and so we ordered a new one. It's okay. Ordered a new one, but my wife the last 2 days made a little trip in the morning to burlap and bean. Give me a large one. Yesterday I had never felt so alive, just crushing that thing by like 9 o'clock. I feel like I could have written like 7 stories yesterday morning.
I've never felt like that in my life, but go ahead, Marissa. What are you working with?
It's just black coffee. Pretty boring.
Yeah, black coffee. That's what I got. Yeah, you don't need the weird, milks and creams and sugars in there. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I got a black coffee too. What are we like a Keurig?
Yeah, pretty basic
Cuisinart?
Keurig. Yeah.
Okay.
Not the greatest coffee, but it'll do.
Get you through the day. Zach, you got some TB12 water?
I just have water, but after hearing Shield's testimonial, I really need to get into coffee more. I got to admit,
You hate coffee.
I've been dragging this week ever since that Sunday night game.
Yeah, but you wrote like 4 stories this week. What do you do?
Well, that's
never been so prolific.
I'm devoting all my time to work, and like my wife is just saying you need to sleep. So that might be a weekend plan, is to get some sleep.
I would think a Chip Kelly fan like yourself would recognize the importance of I'm still getting the 7 hours in most nights.
What about all that money you got from Bulletproof Coffee? They didn't give you any product?
No, they didn't give me any product for that Nick Foles story.
Oh, happy hour in London. Oh, that's fantastic. Picturing our friends in London. Were they having a pint? Is that, did I do that right, Bo?
Yeah. Okay.
Dublin is checking in. Oh, you really are international.
Having pints in London, in Dublin as well.
Okay.
Right by the Stiffy, by the Liffey. All right. Let's talk a little bit about those Eagles. The wide receiver picture, as you touched on, Zach. No Alshon. We'll see about.
Remember that reference to Stiffy over the.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we should go into that more, if we're going to get fired.
That's the thing.
I was
Stiffy by the Liffey.
I was just going to let him move on there.
I didn't know what that meant.
Yes. There might be some kids viewing.
It's important to move on. It's people like when you don't get the references.
Okay, well, I don't get it.
Into that more if we're going to get. What do you got there? Who's listening to
Miles Sanders' Instagram?
No, it was our live podcast.
That happens to me every time when I click on it to get to the
you
chat.
You have to mute it before it pulls up. Yeah.
Can I get a default mute? I'll let you know if I want the volume. Okay.
Eagles.
All
right, Eagles. I guess wide receiver picture. What do you expect the top 3 receivers to be this weekend, Zach?
I would expect it to be John Hightower, Greg Ward, and this is the tough one. I'm still going to say JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Interesting.
Are you going with the Fulgham?
I think Fulgham ends up playing more snaps.
Okay, I can see that.
I think it's the same thing as before. Arcega-Whiteside starts. He plays a majority of the snaps in the first quarter and a half. Doesn't get the ball thrown his way, and Fulgham's in. Pretends that he's hurt. I don't know.
All right, so I was looking at the chat, but the Deshaun Jackson percentage of playing is what?
It's so hard to gauge because
but it's possible.
39%.
Okay,
it's possible because he's been out there this week. He wasn't out there last week.
But he wasn't. We only see the first 10 minutes of practice. But yesterday he was out there for individuals, but was not running routes when it was just quarterbacks throwing to wide receivers.
And Doug has said like they want to get him to be 100%. Now I don't know how that is measured, but clearly they're being cautious. They've been cautious with how much he's played in games, how much he's practiced during the week, and I guess when he can recover from injuries.
He has been weighed, he has been measured, and he has been found left wanting.
I don't understand that reference.
Hopefully one person in the chat gets that.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it doesn't sound like there's that much else to worry about, right? I mean, who's going to replace TJ Edwards for those third down base reps? Probably Alex Singleton, just like he did last week.
I think the one thing to watch, and I guess it depends if Craig James is activated. If Craig James is activated, do they go with Craig James or do they go with Jalen Mills on the outside? I still think they go with Jalen Mills on the outside this week.
I agree. And there were a lot of questions about the sort of secondary shuffle and, were they wise to put Mills at cornerback? Should he go back to safety? I didn't see, it's not like Mills was shutting anyone down, but, you kind of have a baseline of competence where you know what you're getting there. He might still get smoked. He might get a PI. He's going to be finger wagging when the ball is overthrown by 7 yards, which I know draws the ire of some fans, but I didn't notice like a dip in safety play, I guess I should say. I thought Epps and Wallace were fine combining there to replace Mills. So it's not like the Steelers have prolific tight ends. I mean, they have capable tight ends, but I think I would rather have Mills at corner this week.
Well, and it's, we can get into this and I'm sure we will, but it's a different, type matchup than last week where, the Niners were going heavy personnel, and the Steelers are, they've got 4 receivers who are dynamic and can make plays down the field. It's a much different test for the secondary. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I think it might be ugly. They also have one open roster spot. They could activate Quez Watkins too. It's possible he's in the mix as well.
Well, they have 2. They have 2 roster spots.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I was wondering if it was going to be a Curry, James, Watkins, one of those 3, or if there's a practice squad promotion.
Like, what's the point of promoting Vinny Curry right now?
Then you would argue why is he on the roster? It's like if he's healthy and you don't want to have him on the team.
All right, our reader comments are much more interesting than our 17,000th Vinny Curry discussion of Birds with Friends. Ryan B says to Zach, it's not wise to kiss others' rings during a pandemic.
Well said.
A lot of kiss the ring comments in there. Our listeners do not forget. Ryan Jones.
Not a lot of kissing going on.
Well, okay.
We might need to get Roman on the phone.
Or Stiffy and the Liffy, perhaps. Ryan Jones says the league bending over backward to accommodate the Titans nonsense seems like a direct attack on Marissa. Marissa, do you? I think that's a good point. Yeah,
I think that's true.
It's crazy that this is my team.
Yeah.
And they have all this going on. So,
Seriously.
I hope for their sake they can get things under control down there because
they should forfeit their games.
Look. Yeah. The only thing with that is like, how's that fair to the Steelers? Like last week. So if they forfeit this week versus the Bills, the Steelers have a case.
Yeah, but there are so many things like that they invited by approaching things this way.
Right. And it was multiple workouts, apparently, according to a few reports. So it's not like one time and it was like, oh, we didn't know, you know? So,
and if you're the Bills right now, you're like, you're either going to play Tuesday against the Titans or you're going to play Thursday against the Chiefs, which is like 2 totally different propositions here.
What has been a little bit interesting to me is it doesn't seem like the response from other players and other teams are as angry at the Steelers as you might expect. It's like they sort of understand.
The Steelers.
The Titans, sorry.
Oh, no, I thought Mike Sando had the piece where it seemed like everybody was kind of crushing him. I guess when they can be anonymous about it.
Yeah.
He had anonymous execs basically saying that, and there were some coaches, right, who went on the record. I think Pete Carroll,
Sean McVay, I believe,
somebody else, went on the record. So, which,
oh, that's interesting.
So
I don't know. The Eagles just don't care.
Well, I don't think people want to go on the record and rip them when, who they don't know what their situation is going to be. But it seems like behind the scenes, there is some outrage.
Yeah, actually, to Shields' point, Doug Peterson today was asked about this a few times. Did not rip the Titans. Actually, like he wouldn't answer that. Said he's not the league office, so that's not something he'll say. But he did say he knows at some point this year the Eagles are going to be affected by this, whether it is an illness in their building or a game that's moved because of an illness elsewhere, but they're going to be affected by this year.
There you go.
All right. You got any more comments for us, Sheila?
Other comments here. Zach, I don't mean to like direct everyone towards you, but we've been over this. I mean, you are by far
He's the star of the show.
Really, no one cares about me. No one cares about Bo. You Google birds with friends and Marissa's name is the first thing that comes up in the suggested searches. And then every question is about Zach. So I just can only work with what I've got here. B Will wants, I want to see Zeeberm get outraged about something, anything. Is there anything you can get outraged about, Zach? You want to get outraged about outrage culture, perhaps?
There are a few things, but nothing that I would share on the podcast.
Okay, all right.
Nothing?
Okay. Corey says Brady ran to the locker room like Z-Berm ran to get that valet car.
Hey, if he ran that fast, he would get a bigger tip.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So
it does feel like the this continuing theme of this NFL season just being a fever dream of mine, like Tom Brady turning into Kirk Cousins on national TV and forgetting the downs, is just another data point to keep in mind. All right, let's get to curl that enemy with this Steelers team, Mr. National, and we can start with the Pittsburgh offense. I think 18th in DVOA on offense. Actually, they're 7th overall, but offensively 18th. 23rd rushing, 13th passing, but of course they've only played 3 games, and that's not the biggest sample size. What do you know? What can you tell us about what they do, their personnel, all the good stuff?
Well, before I lose these, Ohio, Houston, Delaware, Florida, North Carolina, DC, all checking in. So, man, internationally known and locally respected, as we always say. Their offense, really their whole team. I mean, I think that the Steelers have a Super Bowl ceiling. I think that by the time December rolls around, we could be talking about this as one of the best teams in the league. But if you look at what they've done so far, it's been very uneven. I mean, they've played 3 teams that I think have combined for 1 win so far. 2 of those games include against going against the Denver Broncos, and Jeff Driscoll came down to like the last possession there. And so what is so funny about the Broncos and Jeff Driscoll?
No, there's a good comment. The thing Zach gets outraged about is the 2 weeks Matt Pryor practiced at left tackle during training camp.
That's true. That did get him quite upset last podcast. Man, I'm shocked at how much our listeners actually listen, unlike myself. So it's been very uneven performance so far, and if you look at it in terms of their offense so far, they're 23rd in EPA per snap, 13th passing, 28th rushing. They haven't scored 30 in any of their games. And really, it's a different type of offense. This isn't Roethlisberger like chucking the ball downfield and this sort of explosive, dynamic offense right now. It's really a much more efficient kind of ball control offense, where I think they've only had 3 downfield completions so far. But he does have a lot of guys to throw to. And, they don't have Antonio Brown, obviously, but they've got like key targets, like 8 or 9 guys throughout the course of a game. So you've got Juju Smith-Schuster in the slot very often, Deontay Johnson, James Washington, Bo's boy Chase Claypool has made some plays so far this season. I know Bo does not like Eric Ebron. I feel like you have don't you have like a big vendetta against Eric Ebron?
No, I think I have no opinion on Eric Ebron.
I feel like at some point
he's one of like 8 players in the NFL who I have no opinion on.
Well, dig up his political history. Maybe you'll be able to find something, and it'll bring back.
I forgot to do the tweet tracker this week. Give me some time.
Well, my wife suggested that you could go the opposite direction and go to like Mike Holmgren's Twitter, and you might like that. He might be your favorite coach of all time. So if you need to scramble, I know he's got no connection to this game that I know of.
Mike Holmgren and George Karl.
There you go. If you need something, Vance McDonald. So they've got a lot of guys to throw to. Roethlisberger can just kind of line up in shotgun, balls out of his hands, move the ball efficiently downfield. They don't have a great, run game. I feel like their run game has been boosted by some like late game explosive runs by James Conner. But really, if you watch them, it's not like they're moving the ball efficiently on the ground throughout the course of a game. They've had 3 different offensive line combinations. They got David DeCastro back last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess it is now. And that gave them a boost. They've got Z-Berm's boy, Alejandro Villanueva at left tackle. For all the weird people they brought in during the Chip Kelly era, I mean, here they found a starting left tackle and they let him go. Unbelievable.
I think it's one of the biggest, I've said it before, it's one of the biggest indictments of Chip Kelly for like all of the public whiffing he did of the armed services which is a nice thing for him to do, like over the top on it. They bring in this guy who's exactly what they need, and they force him to switch positions and then just cast him aside without looking at him at the position they could have used. And he's awesome.
And have you heard the story about how it happened?
What happened? How they cut him or how they got him?
No, how the Steelers made him into an offensive tackle.
I don't think so.
There was a preseason game that you guys were at, I assume, Eagles Steelers at Lincoln Financial Field, and they're lining up for the national anthem. Okay, so the Eagles on one side, Steelers on the other, and Mike Tomlin's looking across, and he was like struck by Villanueva, and was thinking, is that guy an offensive tackle? Like, he thought that guy should have been an offensive tackle, and he found out that he was a 3-4 defensive end. And when he became available, they wanted him as an offensive tackle. But it was based on like Tomlin seeing him during the national anthem.
Sounds a little fishy, but a good story.
Yeah.
Also,
like
Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin saw Miles Sanders play at Heinz Field as a freshman in high school, and said, "I'll remember that name. This guy's gonna be a player."
Oh, there you
can
go.
read all about that on The Athletic. theathletic.com/birdswithfriends for more
I haven't
$1 a
gotten
month.
to that story yet, but I look forward to reading about Miles Sanders going back to Pittsburgh there. Mike Tomlin, by the way, has never had a losing season. I think we talked about this during the preseason, but I mean, that's just unbelievable to me, to never have that one down year where you're bit by injuries, or even, I mean, last year to start Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph for the entire season and still go 8-8. I know they kind of floundered down the stretch there, and there was some flukiness to it, but that almost deserved like Coach of the Year consideration to me.
I also like Mike Tomlin's "the standard is the standard." I think that's a strong statement.
But see, you love those foot. I'm going to get you. Yeah. When's your birthday? I'm just going to make like a scrapbook of football guys sayings. Just for you, put them all in there for you.
The standard is the standard. I like that.
I'd love to see you put together a scrapbook.
Yeah, no,
it's actually a hard work. I'm not gonna lie.
I believe it.
I was sore for like weeks. I'm not kidding. Yes, because you're on the floor and like.
So we're on the floor.
Well, you spread everything out on the floor, and you have like all your pictures and your paper and your scissors, and like. You're there for like leaning over for hours. The next day I like couldn't walk.
Yeah. The reason I thought of it is because my daughter's friend made her a scrapbook for her birthday. And I'm going through this, like, this would have taken me 6 months to put this together.
It takes,
I mean, who even knows how to get like a print version of a photo nowadays? I mean, I didn't even know you could still do that. So that's just the baseline there. Zach has never been less interested in a topic. Talk right now.
No, my wife
standard is the standard. Okay,
yes,
there you go. Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, then I don't want to compete with her on this. But if she needs an idea, she could make football. She could throw in, a picture of you and your kids, and then the standard is the standard right next to it.
A picture of Saban.
Yeah. So maybe your son's face on Saban's body with like an Alabama.
Maybe a comment that said, "My scrapbooking is equal to Zach's biking."
That's an odd scrapbook, but thank you very much.
All right. What else we got? That's the offense for you, Bo.
Okay. So, I mean, I think it's fair to say that like the Eagles' only chance on defense is for their defensive line to dominate that offensive line, which has been just okay. Is that fair to say?
I think we could say that every week, to be quite honest. Yeah. But it does. It certainly does apply this week. I mean, get after him and force a couple turnovers. Like, they don't have to be forcing 3 and outs all game. They, it's not like they have to be shutting them down. I think you need to find a way to steal some possessions with turnovers on defense, similarly to what you did last week. Although you're not going to get one like Nick Mullins gave to Alex Singleton. I haven't been able to get that throw out of my head all week. Unbelievable.
And well, there was also the throw from Foles last night to Darnell Mooney, which looked awful. And it really was the full Foles experience in that game. Like some just terrible throws, but also some beauties. It was nice.
He just got hot. Normally, I feel like with Foles, it's the game to game variance. It's like, I feel like you could watch the first possessions and it's like first couple possessions and all right, he's going to light it up or he's a disaster. That was it really shifted all of a sudden in the first half. And then he's just firing darts all over the field. These moon balls that are just landing in guys' hands. It was fun to watch. I thought it was one of the most entertaining games of the year, to be honest.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I mean,
great.
you watch more games than I do, but it was a poorly played game, but it was a fun game.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. How about this Steelers defense, which is, I think, arguably the best in the league. I think they are first in team pass rush win rate, if I'm correct.
I like win rate.
Win weight.
Yeah.
I think I said win weight.
Oh, okay.
But and also number one in run stop win rate. So tough sledding against the Steelers team that blitzes more than anybody else.
They do. They blitz, I think 53% of the time is the number. They're just loaded with talent in a scheme where, everybody knows what they're doing. TJ Watt, I think was my pick for defensive player of the year in the preseason. I mean, if you look at his numbers the last couple of years, they're unbelievable. And it's sacks, it's QB hits, it's forced fumbles, it's pass disruptions. I think he's got interceptions. Like he does a lot of different things where you really have to know where he is and you have to have a plan for him. Bud Dupree on the other side, he's played better than I thought he was going to play. He was, when I was doing the top free agents last year and I was watching film of him, I thought he was a fine player. I didn't think he was somebody like who would line up for the Eagles at 4-3 defensive end and be a monster. I think that scheme really suits him. He's a tight end destroyer. So like if they're going to have Rich Rod or Zach Ertz trying to block him, those guys are going to end up on the ground and it's going to be really ugly. Now, if he's going up against a tackle, like, I don't know. I would be interested to see if Mailata's going up against him one-on-one, what that looks like. I mean, Dupree is very athletic. He can do a lot of different things, but just in terms of like a one-on-one pass rusher against an offensive tackle, I'm not quite as high on him. Very disruptive in the run game, though. I mean, lives behind the line of scrimmage, a lot of tackles for loss. And so he's certainly another good player there. Cam Hayward, a very underrated player there for them at defensive end. Stephon Tuitt is a player, an interior defensive lineman who they didn't have last year, who has played really well. Tyson Alualu is a guy who's generated some buzz from like film Twitter this year. And you watch them and it does seem like Alualu. Yeah, he's making some plays for them at defensive tackle. And then at linebacker, Devin Bush, the first-round pick linebacker, who last year he was coming off the field for them, I believe, in like some sub-package situations. And so there were some questions about his coverage ability. This year, it seems like he's been much better in coverage, but those are, I mean, I just named, like 6-7 players who are all really good, a couple who are, Pro Bowl, all pro caliber players. So that is going to be a huge test for the Eagles.
It was like go ahead, Zach.
A few things to add to that. You mentioned the blitz percentage. Doug Peterson seemed to disagree with how the blitzes for the Steelers are counted. And the reason he said that is because they're a 3-4 front and they rush both their edge rushers. And he says that's just their standard blitz. That's just their standard pass rush. So it goes down as a blitz because they have 5 guys coming, but he just views that as like their base rush.
Coaches love this. Yeah, coaches do not agree with, I mean, how else do they expect us to chart blitzes? Like, it's the number of people who are rushing the quarterback. I understand what he's saying. I mean, it's not like they're, they've got a joker safety or linebacker or slot corner blitzing. It is different. You account for them pre-snap, but at the end of the day, that's one fewer person they have in coverage to account for your wide receiver. So, I guess that's a fair point, but don't you feel like that, like Jim Schwartz has definitely taken issue with that in the past, and then don't get him started on the green dogs where it's, a linebacker who's accountable for the running back stays into block and then they blitz. I mean, God forbid we count that as a blitz because it didn't go in as a blitz in the headset. I mean, there's like steam coming out of their ears when you ask about that. So
I agree.
It's funny to me. I would like them to give us an alternative for what they would like us to call these things.
Well, I love how and to your point there, they're like, you guys don't know what's really going on. But so when we use like statistics that measure it, it's like, well, the stats wrong, Yeah. So
Coach Flynn says absolutely fine to call 5 or more a blitz, and
yes.
That's a football coach. So there you
go. And then you mentioned Cam Hayward. Jason Kelsey said he's the key to what they do is Cam Hayward. And then you mentioned Tuitt. The reason why Javon Hargrave has a $13 million a year deal from the Eagles is because of Tuitt's injury. Last year when Tuitt was down, the Steelers changed the way they used Javon, and that's why he got the pass rush opportunities he did, and that's why the Eagles signed him.
I would like to do a story on like the Jason Kelsey All Pro team, because there are these names in my head throughout the first stint and the second stint of guys where, you know, you can kind of tell when it's, oh yeah, he's a good player. But then some guys, like I remember Luke Kuechly, he's just like, oh God, this guy is a complete pain. Like he destroys our run game every time we play him. And I feel like Cam Hayward would be a guy who he would just look at and be like, this guy is way better than he gets credit for. Who's another one? I feel like one of those.
Sean Lee was one of them as well.
Yes. Linval Joseph. Linval Joseph is another guy.
Okay,
he's just like, this guy destroys us. He's impossible to block.
It does seem like the one weak spot they have, like personnel wise, is their nickelback Mike Hilton, who is a good blitzer but can be exposed in coverage. Mike Hilton, as I like to describe him, as the Roddy Piper player, because it's not your kilt on, it's my kilt on that I'm wearing, right? Okay. I have in fact cobbled together a tweet tracker for us to enjoy, and Sheila, you can get your ad ready.
They'll love this. They love when we go right from the tweet segment right into the ads, right, Marissa? Like we have business up, and they said if you could do more of that, you know,
this is what they request.
Last week, Sheila was texting me, "Do you want to read the ad first?" And I said, "We need about like a 1 minute buffer because the ad started with this show is brought to you by." So we would have went straight from Bo's tweets to this show is brought to you by.
That's right. So get excited, DraftKings, because it's time to take a very quick deep dive into the likes of backup quarterback Mason Rudolph, who was, of course, embroiled in a bit of controversy with Myles Garrett at the end of last year. And a few things that popped out. One, like from the odious Texas Congressman Dan Crenshaw, who's saying a good Christian shows generosity by giving to charities directly, volunteering, and tithing. A democratic socialist, quote unquote, signals their morality by demanding others share their wealth. You've got Donald J. Trump, ASAP Rocky, released from prison and is on his way home to the United States from Sweden. It was a rocky week. Get home ASAP. You've got Ben Shapiro, who is quote tweeting Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and saying, "Are you trying to say that if you don't get a raise, you'll go looking for bribes?" Obviously a big put down from Shapiro. And then there is a Tony Dungy quote replying to Don Lemon saying, "I'm sorry, Mr. Lemon, but just who admitted that Jesus Christ was not perfect here on earth? Not anyone who believes the Bible. Not anyone who trusts in Jesus as their savior. That was the point in Jesus coming." So, we've seen worse in this segment, but just a peek behind the curtain for Mr. Mason Rudolph. What's going on with those lines on the sports book?
A couple football questions for you, Zach, from our viewers here. One is, two that I don't. We might have talked about this and I might have missed them, but how healthy is Lane Johnson? Like it seems like he's just going to be playing with this the rest of the year. And then the second guy, Will Parks. I mean, I will admit, I kind of forgot he was still on the team. So give us updates on those two guys.
Yeah. So a few things there. Lane Johnson, when Lane Johnson spoke to us, he said that by getting the surgery, it was kind of cleaning this up and the problem was going to be behind him. Clearly the problem's not behind him with the ankle. And Doug Peterson said that he's basically going to have to play through this. So you see that they're managing him during the week, on Wednesday's practice in particular. But I don't think it's something that's going to hold him back from playing. It needed to get loose against the 49ers. I know with the Washington game week one thing he said was that the long bus ride, it got tight on there. So I wonder if on these flights or bus rides, it tightens up maybe because he's in the same position. I don't know. I've never had that type of injury, but it is something to think about.
I mean,
the Eagles take a long bus ride to Pittsburgh this week, and Lane Johnson's running up and down the aisles like Stillwell Angel.
I still don't fly, but
I mean, don't you feel like this is an issue that should have been solved. Like this was an issue that was solved decades ago. I mean, I feel like players talk about this all the time. Like they're given instructions on what to do on like these long flights when they have an injury that could sort of stiffen up, whether it's, I mean, I don't know what they are. I'm not a doctor in terms of, rotations, but man, that is a little bit troublesome. I mean, it's a bus ride to DC. It's not a plane ride to Budapest.
Yeah, he said it was really swollen by the end of that Washington ride.
Come on.
And then Will Parks, he's been out there running on the side. The Eagles haven't started his 21-day practice window yet. So I guess he's progressing, but until he actually practices with the team, I assume he won't be playing.
I don't understand. I'm not a doctor, but I don't understand why rest won't help this for Lane Johnson. Like if he takes a couple of weeks off, why won't it get any better? That doesn't really just doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know either. I mean, and it's the type of thing that because we're not in the locker room every day, we have a limited exposure to them. But when he spoke about the surgery, like he was pretty clear that this was supposed to fix it. And so the fact that it's popping up again does make you curious.
Okay. There you go. What else should make you curious is week 5 lines in the NFL. You can, of course, read my picks against the spread. I've been hot. It's not going to last. You might want to get in now while you can, but I go to DraftKings Sportsbook every week when I want to find out what the lines are on that week's NFL games. Week 4 is in the books. Time to review the tape and get ready for week 5. There's no better place to get in on all the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To add to the excitement of week 5, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing back their can't-miss offer. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook yet, head to the App Store now because you don't want to miss this. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to receive a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. On top of that great sign-up offer, DraftKings offers great odds boosts every Sunday to help you make it rain. Don't worry if football isn't for you. DraftKings is giving all you basketball fans a 200% profit boost on any basketball market once you sign up. Of course, that could end tonight here, but then we've got the Masters coming up. Bo will be giving his picks out for that. I am sure DraftKings is a safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TOSS when you sign up and get up to $1,000. That's code TOSS to get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only, in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now, Bo, there were some comments here during your reading of the tweets, about the Nate Gary situation, which I have not, totally dug into here. So, do you want to update the listeners on why his name was in the headlines here the last couple of days?
Yeah, someone did a deep dive on, or at least a search on his old tweets, and there were some problematic droppings of a certain problematic word in from when he was, I think, 17 as a little guy in South Dakota. It's the kind of thing I would, it's hard. I don't know. He apologized. I don't really know what to make of it. It's not really my place to say what I don't know. What is weird about it is that it was sort of done like a look what I found, get him off the team because he's bad at football, which is, that's fine. And we talked about some of the things that he struggled with on the field with Schwartz, but I don't know. I think there is a difference that we sort of talked about with Deshaun between, ignorance and hate that I think is important here.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Nate's apology last night. I was writing and I didn't know what it was regarding, and then I looked it up. I mean, clearly, whatever age you are, something's not condonable. I do think though that there's two things here. When I think sports agencies should start, like, when they sign a guy, go back and just look
100%.
up, have an intern look up every.
Do you know
old
how
thing on
easy
social
it
media.
is? It's so easy.
Exactly.
It's so easy. It blows
It's not
my
even.
mind.
It's
Like,
not even go back and look through. It's just okay. You are entering the pros. Delete everything that you have on social media right now. You don't need it.
Well, I mean, there might
Just
be
delete
like
it all.
pictures that they want or something like that. But then the other thing too is there's this like cottage industry among some fans, and the Nate Gary thing isn't like it's not the strongest example of it, but when there's an athlete who emerges for the first time, like, people go back and look through all his tweets to find something like this, and that's kind of. I really don't know what I think about that either. Like, it seems somewhat. What's a good word for it, Bo?
I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to say. Like, you got a better use of your time.
Yeah, or
I mean,
it's like the ultimate. You're out to get somebody. You know, like I remember Dante DiFincenzo when he had that, like, you know, he had that great game in the national championship. And someone was going searching up all his tweets during it, and it's not to condone the tweets. It's an interesting.
I do think I think there is a distinction between, like, a long time pattern of behavior and you know, just being ignorant as a 17-year-old, which is not great either. But I think it's an important distinction.
Some of our comments, we were all 16 and stupid at one time. Someone else says, well, being 16 and stupid shouldn't be an excuse for something like this. That's society's fault, not any one person's. Someone else says, big difference between ignorance and hate, even though sometimes the former can contribute to the latter. So there you go.
And I think anyone who has read Nate Gary's appearances in the Wolf's Den probably knows that he's, like, very loose with his language, and he's not, like, thinking through things all the time. So, you know, he's the smartest football player we've ever seen, but maybe not off the field.
Okay. Some other comments we've got here. Someone said Zach perked up at the idea of feeling like he could write 7 articles in a row. That seemed to really get your attention. Some people are suggesting tea. Zach, can you be a tea man?
So I was at the Mercer Cafe in South Philly before.
Flex.
I like a Mercer Cafe.
Named after Ron Mercer.
This was a few years ago.
I loved Ron Mercer as
it was like
player.
I got off a flight. You know, it was one of those things where I was killing time before the Eagles press conference, and you know, it was one of those nights where you get 2-3 hours, and so I was talking to the woman at the counter at the Mercer Cafe.
Flex.
And
double flex.
That I was talking to the woman at the counter,
Yeah.
and I said, I need like a pick me up here, but I really don't like coffee.
Got any cocaine?
You know? No, it wasn't like that. And she recommended to me chai tea, or is it chai or kai? Chai?
Well, you know, it depends. I mean, really, if we're doing Indian, you know, parlance, it's cha. But, you know, Americans take it, they put them in their coffee shops, they make it the wrong way. But, you know, if you want a real cha, come to the Kapadia's.
I would love that. But so this is what happened. So then I had it. It was really good. And I got home and I told my wife that I found this great alternative to coffee. And I mentioned what it is. And she's like, that's all sugar. You know, it's like the way they do it's all sugar. And it's like it defeats the purpose for you. So if that's the case, I should just have like the caramel drink at Starbucks or something.
Yeah, I mean that's the, you know, commercialized version of it. I mean, we could throw some honey in there for you. So it doesn't have to be the most sugary drink. It could have the same type of sugar as another tea or coffee would be. But yes, the coffee shop version of it would be very sugary. I agree. I like a green tea in like the afternoon. You know, sometimes
is there a lot of caffeine in it?
Not as much as coffee. Okay. And so it depends how I'm feeling. Sometimes it'll be a shot of espresso. Sometimes I need the other coffee. Sometimes a green tea. So
I need that company that Shield promoted.
Burlap and Bean.
No, no, we had the ad.
Liquid IV.
Yeah, the Liquid IV.
Yeah, I've been having some Liquid IV. Not bad.
Yeah, I gotta get that a try.
You know, someone had recommended if you're having a few beverages before you go to bed, throw down a liquid IV instead of a glass of water. I gotta say, I did that a couple times. Felt good. Felt good in the morning.
He's gonna be a new guy at the combine this year. You know, he'll be.
I don't know about that.
He'll be 20 drinks in, and then
you mean in 2024?
Yeah, exactly.
I absolutely, if we were going to the combine, would be packing liquid IV.
P&M from Steve Frank, Peckness Migrate. Having to apply sunscreen to everything daily and wearing clothes over the sunscreen.
Oh, God, what?
Consistently having a hair in your mouth and you can't locate it to pull it out.
What the hell's the matter with you?
Or having a stuffy nose that will never drain.
Oh, God. Way to really uplift everybody on Friday morning. Like, this is disgusting. What the hell?
I mean, I'll definitely migrate the stuffy nose that will never drain. Because,
really?
Yeah, because that also has health implications too. Like if you have a cold that you can't kick, especially now, like if you have even like the slightest cold, your guard's up, right?
Yeah.
So that, and then I guess I'll nest the sunscreen as much as I don't like that. Like it's a bad feeling, but it's not really a health thing. And but then a hair in your mouth, like that doesn't sound very good. So maybe one time I'll take it, but so I'm pecking
just to see how it feels.
Yeah.
This is this is terrible when you have two daughters, like they're just hairs popping up all over the place. You got it, you're trying to get it off you, all it's in your mouth. So when I saw that, I was just like, migrate that. I never want that to happen again. It's terrible. But I don't know. Yeah, I guess you'd have to nest the sunscreen.
I think that's the only one. I think you have to start with the nest, and I think that's the only one that like you could sort of get used to. Like would just become a part of your routine. It would be terrible, but.
And you're protecting your skin. There you go.
That's true.
And if you're moisturizing, I had to moisturize the face, right? I was in a rush right before I came on. And so, that could be a good
flex.
thing. Yeah. So I would put that's the nest, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can get by with a peck of a stuffy nose. That's just, SOP, but
yeah, that's true. All right. I got some other comments here, unless you guys wanted to move on.
No, never.
No, I mean, what else are we going to do, really? Steve wants to know, Zach, how are you keeping your calves warm on the bike these days? It's a bit nippy out, especially if you're going in the morning, some chilly mornings, some fall mornings.
Yeah, fine. And also diversifying the workouts a bit too. So,
what else we got?
Sure.
Ooh.
Just different, like, different, like you're lifting, you're stretching, you're on the treadmill for a bit. There's different things like that you can do.
When you lifting.
You got
Scrapbooking.
What do you got? You got some adjustable dumbbells. You got some resistance bands. What do you got going on there at the Berman household?
It's not like
got a squat rack in the bedroom.
It's like Lane Johnson's barn.
Yeah, it's not like that. No, just whatever's around, trying to get in better shape.
Whatever's around, just lifting up chairs in the middle of dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fill up backpacks with books. You get some curls in on the road.
No, lightweights.
Lightweights. Okay. All right.
Coach Flynn just sent over a picture of his fridge, which is stocked with 9 huge cans of Monster.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
his caffeine fix,
Coach
and it is
you
just
can't.
unbelievable.
I mean, you're not going to survive. Come on, I'm worried about you. All right, we got to get Coach Flynn a different. Maybe I'll send him some liquid IV and see if he likes that. This is a football question. Is Jim Schwartz bad at evaluating defensive talent? Feels like a lot of former Eagles linebackers and cornerbacks are lighting it up elsewhere, while he is in love with Jags like Nate Gerry and Jalen Mills. Now, is this Jim Schwartz? Is this Howie Roseman? Is it both of them? It's tough for me to sort of figure out, where to draw one line from the other. It seems like Jim Schwartz.
So are the examples LJ Fort, Chandon Sullivan? Would that be one?
I mean, I don't know. Rasul Douglas is probably a stretch, but he has, he's been
How
a
about
starter
Ryan
for
Neal?
them. How about Ryan Neal? Great story by MSD on our Seattle site. And Ryan Neal was blowing people up last week, like legitimately, for the Seahawks starting for them.
And Ryan Neal was a Anthony Rush special where they basically whacked him before even getting a good look at him. It was like right at the start of camp. I think you sort of take it on a case by case basis. Like Ryan Neal is a front office failure.
Mhm.
Chandon Sullivan is probably a front office failure too. LJ Fort is a Jim Schwartz failure, I think. Like if LJ Fort was playing in the defense, they wouldn't have cut him.
You don't think that was a comp pick play?
But if he was playing in the defense,
Okay.
they wouldn't have cut him.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been. Now you look at it, he definitely could have been a starting linebacker, like a 3-down linebacker for them. Given, I mean, he's not Ray Lewis, but he's definitely at that caliber that's better than anything they have. So,
And I'd put Rasul on Schwartz as well. Not that, you can still argue that it was worth releasing him, but I would say that was more of a Schwartz decision than a Howie decision.
I could probably go through all the rosters at some point here and come up with I like that old school Nike logo on your T-shirt there. It's more than easy. Oh, you got the Mariners. Wow, look at that. That's like my hat. Why didn't you tell me to wear my hat?
Should have.
Is that Randy Johnson?
It's Randy Johnson.
Oh,
That big unit.
Big unit.
look at you. Okay, yeah, I thought.
Scroll down for the big unit, not what you were expecting.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say. I'm glad. I'm glad it was just Randy Johnson. All right. So I wasn't.
Oh, we got Zach to laugh. We finally got Zach to laugh.
I wasn't sure what was going on there. I was getting very nervous for the future of this podcast. All right. Neil says Zach spends so much time looking at his phone during the pod. If his hair ever starts thinning on top, which I know about, the Birds with Friends audience will be the first to know.
I've been getting a few messages during this. That's all. Okay.
So that's like the Birds with Friends audience is like my mom, because, I'm sitting on the couch. I'm in my mid-20s, feeling good about myself. I feel these hands reach into my head, asking me what's going on with your hair. And that was the beginning of the end for me. So Birds with Friends audience can certainly do.
So Shield left for Seattle,
Yeah.
and then I saw him at the owners' meetings like the next year, and like, oh, it's a new look, and he pulls it off well. But it was like a shock to the system.
There you go. Thomas says Zach asked the waitress for a pick-me-up and the location of the nearest insomnia cookies.
I know the location. I know the location of the insomnia cookies.
All right, we've got.
He's got the address saved into his Google Maps.
Someone made the point you can't sleep with the stuff he knows, which is a great point. So that could really affect your life there. Okay, we've got a Peck Nest migrate, and at first they went Syracuse, State College, and Winston-Salem, but then someone said we got to throw College Park in there. So I guess I guess you have to. I would think you have to migrate two of these. So Peck Nest and a double migrate. Now, out of those four, I have not been to Winston-Salem. So Bo, do you want to give us like a 10 seconds on Winston-Salem?
Yeah, it's a nice campus. If you're going to live on campus, it's great. It's I wouldn't necessarily say you want to nest there, but okay. I haven't been to State College, and
really,
I don't want to live in Syracuse.
You've never been to State College?
Never.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm not, I'm probably the least rah-rah Penn State graduate you would find, but like when you're talking about the town of State College as a college town, I'll definitely stick up for it there. And obviously I'm going to be biased, but I will definitely nest that great college town. I will peck College Park. I had some very fun weekends in College Park. In my heyday, I visited Syracuse. Syracuse was on my final three, but I don't know if it was the day I went, the weekend. It was rainy. It was dark. It was, that
was probably like the 8 months you did.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not saying
experience I had when I visited.
I'm not saying State College is a tropical climate, but I just left that place thinking this is a little too like gloomy and dreary for me. So I'm going to
let's not let the subtle flex there of Sheil saying it was in my top three, but I chose not to go there. Go unnoticed.
How is that a flex?
I'm just saying, you got Zach right here, a proud alumnus.
I mean, I don't know about Wake Forest. I don't know. You might be on another level, but I would say like Penn State, Maryland, and Syracuse are in the same ballpark of college, right? I would imagine there's quite a bit of overlap.
I'm just saying.
Oh, Zach and Marissa's silent. They're saying, don't put us down there.
No, I am nesting. I'm nesting College Park. Because of the proximity. Yeah, because of the proximity to DC.
Yeah, that was going to be my argument. Was you get the great college field, but then you get 20 minutes. You get DC, 20 minutes. You get Baltimore.
Listen,
you can intern with great organizations
Oh,
during
wow.
the year. I used to give tours of the journalism
I mean,
school.
you're
Okay?
like,
So-
what is
Nice.
it called? Like the Terrapin
We were
Club or
Yes.
the turtle? I mean,
I
you're
am
an
all rah-rah.
ambassador.
Oh wait, is this
you a
where to
good
live
backwards
or where to go to
walker, Marissa?
college? Wait, is this where to live or where to go to college?
I
live,
I
right?
thought of it
Yeah.
as like a visit for a weekend type thing. I don't
Well,
know.
Well, the nest is
any
the nest
reason.
is you're moving there and living there.
Oh,
okay.
The peck is you go for a weekend, yeah, and the migrates you're never allowed to go there ever again.
Okay.
I'm migrating Syracuse for sure. Just don't need to go all the way up there. I'll probably migrate Penn State College because I've never been. I don't know what I'm missing.
Hey, you really? I mean,
Yeah.
please, you would love it. I'll go up there for a weekend.
And yeah, I guess I might. I'd probably just peck Winston and then Nest College Park. Yeah,
Yeah,
You
so-
hate? What are you talking about? You hate DC. No one hates DC more than you.
that's definitely true.
And now you want to go?
Really? You
What?
hate DC?
How do you hate I love DC.
I love
DC is awful.
I definitely am more
I
on both
love
sides on
DC.
this.
It's
Yeah.
like
but my
clean,
brother lives there, so I
nice
can so I can
city.
be I can visit.
Yeah, I know.
I lived there for 2 years.
I
Great
don't
city.
need to know about your
Yeah.
internships with
No.
Senator blah blah blah. and
Everything.
your think
There's no
tank and,
such thing. There's no
you know,
such thing as a
tucking your button downs into
non-networking
your
event.
khakis and please come on.
Like, oh,
I've
nice
had
to meet
enough of
you.
you.
Oh, what could who do you know? Who do we both know? How can we
Who's
network? How can
generalizing
we,
now? Did you stay in one quadrant the whole time?
No,
Like, there's-
it's,
you know.
No.
I've been everywhere. You know, what is it? Adams Morgan and Georgetown and
Georgetown's beautiful. How
down
could you?
by,
How could you not like
the
Georgetown?
Verizon. So listen, I don't need to put on my pink shorts and my $120 flip flops and go walking around Georgetown. Now that I guess would be generalizing a bit.
Yeah.
I think we should just end it here. I don't need to get into my predictions or anything else. All right. Well, that was a great peck nest migrate there. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
lively.
That was a good one.
Wait, Marissa didn't
Yeah, Marissa
answer.
didn't answer.
Did Zach
Um,
answer?
I think
Well,
Zach did
I'm-
answer.
Okay.
I didn't migrate, but I guess I would migrate Syracuse. I love my time at Syracuse, but I'm not choosing to live there. So
Yeah, I'm thinking the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm nesting College Park, but I'm very biased. So,
Okay. Yeah.
and I think I would peck Winston Salem, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Good weekend visit.
Yeah.
Zach got an award there.
I did.
Yeah, that's right.
I like Winston-Salem. I
Sports Writer
like
of the Year.
UCC. No. All right. All right,
That's
let's move on.
true.
Yeah.
That is
yeah.
true, yeah.
I did.
Okay.
Okay, we'll do a very truncated draft. The 4 players who we'll be talking about if the Eagles win or lose. Zach, would you like to start us off?
Sure. If the Eagles win, we'll be talking about Miles Sanders returning home to the field that he first played on.
Smart play. Way to plug that.
Yeah, when he was 10 years old. And Pittsburgh means a lot to him. You've probably seen him wear that Pittsburgh Pirates P medallion. He has a tattoo of the skyline on his wrist.
Great
The area
logo.
code-
Great logo. Love.
Yeah,
Like if I
so-
was just getting a baseball hat, I would be tempted to get like a yellow Pirates. I feel.
And I'll tell you
Yes.
what, I like the idea that all 3 of the teams have the same color scheme.
So
I
do
kind of like that for a city.
I think Pittsburgh is like a little underrated. I spent a weekend in Pittsburgh, enjoyed myself.
So I will go with Miles Sanders. Also, they really need him in the offense, and I think the Eagles need to get him more involved in the passing game too. So I would pay attention to that.
Sheila, would you like to go next? I feel like
Sure,
that gives you
is,
more time to think in between picks.
The offensive line. Is the starting offensive line the same as last
I
week?
think it will be the
you
first time
suspect?
all season we will have the same starting offensive line.
So
yes.
Matt Pryor is still my right guard here.
If they're going to do how they lined up during practice this week,
Yeah.
it will still be Matt Pryor.
Okay. Oh, I'll go positive. How about for a win, Zach Ertz? The poor guy's getting crushed last week, going up against George Kittle. Everyone's pointing out fairly.
4
that
catches for 9 yards.
You know what though? There was
there was
I
a
think
one
the
catch
2
that-
penalties right in there that he drew. I think 1 on 3rd down.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
true.
defending him. I
And
mean,
one of them was sort of like not really his fault. It was a negative yardage pass completion.
But I haven't looked up the Steelers' numbers against tight ends, but I don't think those are the most athletic linebackers. And so I think this is going to be a game similar to last week where you do have to pull out all the stops. You got to give me, all the things you gave me last week, but also I don't think you're going to get a lot going downfield. So I think you're going to have to string together methodical drives. And so maybe Zach Ertz bounces back with a big game.
It's just so funny. Everyone they might have to string together some long drives. Okay, great. I will say if the Eagles win on offense, we're going to be talking about Jordan Mailata. If they win this game and he's able to hold up against TJ or against Bud Dupree, all of a sudden you're thinking maybe we really have found something here. And I think that's about as exciting a thing as you could get for this offense at this stage of the season. And if they lose on offense, how about Lane Johnson? Because he's going up against TJ Watt. And, TJ Watt's arguably the best pass rusher in the league. Lane Johnson's playing on a bum ankle. Whether it means he doesn't play the whole game, he comes out again, or he's not super effective, I think you'll be talking about, what's the deal with this injury? Why doesn't he take some time? And I certainly think that's possible. Off to you, Sheil.
Oh, me again. Okay. If they lose, I'll just go with Matt Pryor. He couldn't hold up against that defense last week. This is a much better defense. It's going to be harder mentally. It's going to be harder physically. And so I could just see him being a total disaster in this game.
ZB.
Yeah, so if the Eagles win on defense, I will go Javon Hargrave, returning back to his old team. He's been getting better since that week 2 when we saw him, and has a little something to play for, and that's a worthy storyline.
Okay, you get to go again.
If the Eagles lose on offense, then I'll do the inverse of what Bo said. Maybe we'll be talking about Jordan Mailata. They haven't figured out left tackle. Last week wasn't reviewing, and Bud Dupree really got the most of him here. So we'll see.
Okay. Sheil?
Oh, it's me. I'll go with Brandon Graham on defense. The guy's just showing up every week, really, and playing at a high level in his 30s. He's consistent against the run and as a pass rusher. They've got a backup right tackle, Chucks Okorafor.
Yes.
Chooks.
Yeah, Central Michigan guy.
Okay,
great job by Marissa to correct you.
Western.
Outstanding.
Nobody knows backup offensive linemen around the league like Marissa.
Because we saw Zach Banner get hurt, and that was really sad.
That's
in the
true.
Beginning of the season. So
there you go. Really,
big Zach Banner fan.
Marissa should be doing this segment for me. So Chooks is the backup. So as she said, Zach Banner got injured. And so you're going up against the backup right tackle. It was sort of been a pleasant surprise so far, but certainly not the best guy Graham will face this season. So maybe he has a big game.
Okay. If the Eagles win on defense, somebody who we will be talking about. How about Derek Barnett? What if he strings together a game like he had last week against Alejandro Villanueva, and all of a sudden you're thinking this guy who's been just sort of above average for the first 3 years of his career is all of a sudden, on the precipice of turning into an actual difference maker for this defense. That would be, we've talked about the Eagles don't have a lot of young players who you can really be excited about moving forward. And if Derek Barnett is going to turn into one, that would really sort of change the picture of the defense over the next couple of years. And then if they lose on defense, how about Jalen Mills? Because if he's going to be playing on the outside, I think there's a good chance, unlike last week when you have Nick Mullins and some just okay receivers and not an advanced passing game, I think there's a chance Jalen Mills, we've seen him get beat deep before. I know that the Steelers haven't thrown deep much this year. And as Sheil said, I think they've only completed 3, but I certainly think Deontay Johnson or Juju Smith-Schuster or James Washington or Calais Claypool, all 4 of those guys can run past Jalen Mills, and maybe he gives up a couple big plays.
And Bo was not a Chase Claypool guy in the draft. So
I was not, although the one, once a guy gets drafted by the Steelers, you just sort of have to take the loss.
Yeah, really.
This is not a Van Jefferson, Michael Pittman situation where I'll be rooting against the guy. This is Chase Clay. He's on the Steelers. I sort of accept that he's going to be good.
His numbers are better than what he's shown so far too. He drew a big pass interference penalty last game downfield. So that's another one that I don't think that counts in their completions downfield, but he made a big play at a big spot for them.
All right,
my turn.
You both have defense loss left.
Yeah, I was going to go with Jalen Mills. I think that is definitely a good one. But how about I'll go on the other side? Darius Slay has played really well, but this is good. This is going to be tougher. This is going to be I'm trying to think what other quarterbacks. Yeah, this will be the best quarterback they faced so far this year. He's not probably going to be traveling with one guy, I wouldn't think, in this game. for as well as he's played, there's been moments where he's not that physicality that Eagles fans really embrace most of the time out of their defensive players. I wouldn't say he's shown that, which is totally fine if he can cover the way he's covered. But if it all sort of comes together into a bad game where he's getting burned and, maybe isn't making tackles like that, then maybe he could draw the ire of some Eagles fans in this game.
You think Slay is going to follow Juju?
I don't think so, because Juju lines up in the slot a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Or has historically. And so that would surprise me. And I don't know that there are some Steelers fans who would tell you that Deontay Johnson is a better player than Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, that just might be because Smith-Schuster is a free agent and he's not going to be there that long. And so they're moving their emotions to another guy. But I certainly think they have multiple guys you have to worry about.
If the Eagles lose, I guess I'll go Nate Gary, because we have to pick him each week.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And he's someone people are already talking about. So I imagine they'll be talking about him even more.
Okay. Before we get to our crystal ball Eagle predictions, so we had a couple bird lines drop-ins before the episode. Higher total from Fransky in LA. Wentz versus Foles career playoff matchups, or JJ Arcega-Whiteside total career touchdowns with the Eagles.
Sorry, say it again. I was reading our comments. I swear I was actually doing something productive.
How many times will Carson Wentz and Nick Foles face each other in the playoffs versus how many career touchdowns will JJ Arcega-Whiteside have with the Eagles?
I'm going to go JJ touchdowns.
Yeah, come on.
I think he gets one.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You don't know if he's going to be on the team in 3 weeks.
Well, that's true. But I think it's probably, if I had to bet on one, I'd say that's more likely. Okay. Non-special teams snaps for 2020 draft picks versus Travis Fulgham receiving yards on the season. That's a good one.
Travis Fulgham receiving yards?
Yes. Versus non-special team snaps for every draft pick on the team this year. So you've got Jalen Hurts, who's played 10 snaps. You've got Kayvon Wallace, who played, a handful of snaps last week and is likely to continue playing more. You've got Jalen Reagor.
I mean, Rager's been back. So
that's
Driscoll's
easy.
Played,
that's
Driscoll
the rookies. That's not a good
of...
one. That's easy. That's going to be rookies. I looked at it. I actually looked this up this week because I was expecting them to have among the fewest rookie snaps, and they're actually middle of the pack right now. But I think a lot of it is,
Driscoll's played a game and a half.
Wallace got in there.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And Hightower's on the field a lot too.
Right.
So, yeah. There's actually a lot. Yeah. That does make sense. Ertz yards per target or Miles Sanders yards per carry?
I don't have a good baseline for yards per target. What is a good yards per target?
Ertz yards per target, I would say. Well, let's say if he gets 10 to 15 targets, and I mean,
it's funny that the guy he's always looked up to is Jason Witten, and right now he's turning into late career Jason Witten.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a step too far.
He does not look explosive to me. He's never been a great athlete, but he looks like he's lost like a half a step to me. I don't know.
I will take Ertz yards per target.
Okay, me too. And this is an interesting question. This is not a bird line, but a fair question. Now that it has come out that Bo's ping pong partner tested positive for PEDs, of course, talking about Kenyon Barner.
Oh, is that right? I didn't even see that.
Yes. Does this taint every win Bo has ever had? What was Bo's role? Was it his crazy doctor providing the pills? Did Bo push his teammate to this?
Oh, that was your partner, not your opponent.
Yes.
I thought it was your opponent, no?
No, we played together. Yes. This was
it taints everything. I'd like to see you.
Fair to say.
I'd like to see you get tested, to be quite honest.
I think that's reasonable. I'm willing to undergo whatever test, and I will say on the record, I'll put my hand on my heart and swear on the good book that I have nothing to do with this. But I understand that you're liable to skepticism, so I'll do whatever I need to do.
I was hoping you were going to give us the past is in the past, or what was that? Was there Rafael Palmeiro?
I'm not here to talk about the past.
I'm not here to talk about the past.
Yeah, that's good. That is what I should have done. Right.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Let's get to our crystal bald eagle. If you look at what is the line right now? 7?
7, I believe.
7. And if you look at the new stat from Ethan Douglas in Shield's power rankings, I think it would tell you that this line should be closer to 8.5 or 9. Based on those points, Pittsburgh is at plus 3.6. The Eagles are at minus 2.2. Then you factor in 3 points for home road, gets you to about 8.5. But let's see. Can the Eagles hold on to their lead in the NFC East as a dominant 1-2-1 team? Zach?
I have the Steelers winning this game. I think they're the better team. I don't have them covering. I'm going 24-20 Steelers. I think that the Eagles' defensive line is legit, and I think they're going to continue to play well as they have the past 2 weeks. I don't think the Eagles have enough offensive firepower, and I think the Steelers, a well-rested team with better quarterback play than what the Eagles faced last week, will be prepared for them.
Shield?
Well, first of all, you shouldn't be giving teams 3 points for home field advantage.
Well, that's what Ethan did last night when he was talking about the Thursday night game.
Okay. Well, listen, is he on this podcast? We'll have a private discussion about that.
And there will be 5,500 fans there at Heinz Field.
Well, this was even, if you look at sort of our own Ben Baldwin did a study on this, and even if you look at kind of the past few years, home field advantage was decreasing anyway to the point where bookmakers were not counting it for 3. I don't know if it was 2.5 or 2. I think it was more 2.5. But now, especially with no fans, it's sort of a, I don't know that anyone's looked at the data yet, but that will be interesting to look at. The Steelers have had very uneven performances. So this isn't a game that you can't win. I mean, you can kind of ugly this game up and have a chance to win it in the fourth quarter, make a play like you did last week, maybe get a turnover and steal this game. And man, if they go into Pittsburgh and win that game after beating the 40, if they went back-to-back games here as touchdown underdogs, Tyron Smith, I just saw before we came on, is out for the season. The Cowboys, I don't know if you guys have been following this week, but I mean, it's unbelievable. They're having questions about effort. DeMarcus Lawrence is calling them soft. I think their offensive numbers are severely inflated. If you look at some of the efficiency stuff, they've been terrible taking care of the ball. So it could be like a whole different narrative next week if they go in and win this game. Having said that, I just think it's such a tough spot for their offense. I totally believe in the Steelers defense. It's sort of the, not only are they talented, but they're just so tough to prepare for. They're going to win their one-on-one matchups. And so you need a break somewhere along the way, bring me the Jalen Hurts package, bring me the double pass, bring me a 2-point conversion, bring me a fake punt or a fake field goal. All those things you went into last game as, I think you have to take it to like another level really this week. And you shouldn't be fooled by, hey, we won last week, we're actually a better team, because I don't think that's really what we learned there. So I think it's going to be competitive. I think the Steelers will get like maybe a score late, and I've got the Steelers covering. I've been wrong, I think, on the Eagles spread every week. So again, this is a good sign for Eagles fans, but I've got the Steelers covering 26-17.
Okay. Let's see Jalen Hurts throw the ball, huh?
Yeah.
If you're going to make the defense respect it, let him throw the ball downfield. It changes everything. Yeah. Unlike last week where I thought that maybe the matchup was better for the Eagles than you might think. I think this is sort of a nightmare matchup for the Eagles for all the reasons you guys have talked about. I think they sort of not wasted, but they had their, turnover bump game last week. So I think it would be hard to expect that to come again. And I think this game might get out of hand. I think just because I don't like the idea of, it's important to get ahead, but if the Eagles are chasing in this game, and then, those pass rushers can really take advantage of the Eagles. They don't have the firepower to get back into the game that well. So I think this game is going to be a little bit lopsided. Give me the Steelers 24-13.
What did you have in week 1? Because I think you're 2-0 the last 2 weeks, right? Against the spread. Against the spread.
I don't remember what I think I did have it closer. I think I had the Eagles winning, but I think I had it as
we know we
game.
Can't trust you, so let's enterprise listener will look that up.
We should include that.
But I think I had the Eagles beating the Rams, so I think I'm 3-1.
Okay. We should probably include our record against the spread this year.
It's
some accountability. Yeah, I think that's fair.
I like that. All right, last things here. Dan says, Shield, do you have a recommendation for a good chai loose or bagged and proper way to make it. No, you can't be, listen, find the nearest Indian auntie, knock on her door, wear a mask, and say, I have an Indian podcaster I listen to. He recommended I, have a nice afternoon cha. She'd be delighted. It could be, I shouldn't say Indian auntie. It could be an Indian uncle. My dad throws the cha on there. So I would recommend doing that. These you don't want to mess with those.
Just a cold knock, a guy you don't have much of a relationship with.
Yeah, it doesn't. We're welcoming people.
Okay.
We're very friendly to our guests.
Just go to your nearest water source and you'll find somebody.
Yeah, they're walking around there. Well, masked up though. Let's be safe there. Hamilton says he wears Under Armour running tights for cold cycling. Zach, any interest?
I guess I'll find out. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't own a pair.
Zach's turning his back on the bike and getting into powerlifting instead.
Next week it's going to be all CrossFit questions. How to build your home CrossFit gym.
He's the guy I saw doing pull-ups at the playground.
Someone just kind of rounded up the defensive players. LJ Ford, Camus Grugier Hill, which that's probably fair. They had that big spat. Yeah, I think he's better than the guys they're playing.
Yeah, I think that was a Howie thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Chandon Sullivan and Rasul Douglas. So there you go. Not a murderer's row of defensive players, but
neither is the defense.
I think it's a fair question. Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Burns with Friends. She'll no chance for a post-game pod out of you this week, just for the listeners to look forward to.
No, not this week. No, can't do it.
What if let's at least throw one possibility out there? What if the Eagles pitch a shutout?
If they pitch a shutout?
Yeah.
All right. Yes, I will do
Okay.
one. Do one. Yeah,
something
I'll do
outlandish.
one if they pitch a shutout. Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
And next week's Capadia week, so something to look forward to.
That's exactly right.
It is.
Yeah.
The Ravens.
Oh God. Okay. I don't know whether to be happy. I'm happy just because it's not Bo trying to make Seahawks Capadia week happen unsuccessfully for like the 7th straight year. So that's
some of our most successful episodes.
Ravens are not playing great, by the way. There are some of these teams that I think preseason I was high on. The Colts, the Ravens, where if you really look at
jumping off the Colts already.
I mean, if you look at the Colts are really struggling to find themselves. The Ravens are 15th offensively in EPA per snap right now. They are really struggling to find an identity and find the things that worked for them last year offensively. So it's been a little interesting first 4 weeks. Now, Zach, you and I are looking good on the Seahawks so far. You better than me. You had them going to the Super Bowl. I had an NFC title game. Bo had them not making the postseason. So
but I've got a lot of other ones that are looking pretty good.
And I was right on the Chiefs too, right?
Whoa, whiff! Wow, what a whiff from Bo. Okay.
Yeah,
we'll revisit those. How about after week 8? We'll take a look.
I believe the Jets under was my first pick, which is really that's just nailing.
I was thinking the Bengals. I could have used them to win that game against the Eagles in overtime. That was one of my first ones, but they won last week. They're coming on strong.
There you go. All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Birds with Friends. Thanks to everybody for listening. Thank you for those of you who watched on YouTube, and we will be back, Zach, Marissa, and I, on the post-game pod on Sunday after the Eagles play the Steelers and look to hold on to their first place lead in the NFC East. For the whole crew, I'm Bo. Thank you for listening. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Leave a review. We've seen some good reviews there. And make sure you smash the subscribe button on YouTube. Thanks for listening. And as always, we love you.